Good morning, thanks for joining me. I hope everybody's well and having a good week. Today we are going to have a lovely chit chat about makeup, and I'm going to put some makeup on while I talk to you, my sort of everyday current look with some new things, some older bits and pieces, some favourites. Going to talk about all sorts. I have a massive basket, well, not really a massive basket, but a basket full of quite a lot of things here to show you and try on and talk about. In fact, let me get them all out and lay them out, and then I can put them back in one at a time as I've talked about them, so we don't miss anything out. I'm going to link everything in the description box below for you. There's some new found gems in here, as well as some real old favourites that I've talked about, and some new things that are maybe not as brilliant, but I'm trying to make work a little bit. Right, we are good to go, I think. Let's pop that over there. Actually, let's pop it there, out of shot, then it won't be green and distracting. Why do I look lopsided? Why is my dress the wrong way there? Right, as you can see, I've got these under eye patches on. I do like these. I'm a fairly recent, in the last 12 months I would say, convert to these under eye patches. I used to think they were a bit gimmicky, but I really do actually think they really moisturise this under eye area well. It's just the last day of September as I'm filming this, and it's just got colder, and we're thinking about putting the heating on. In fact, we did put the heating on for an hour or so over the weekend just to take the chill off, and as soon as the heating goes on, my skin really knows about it and definitely goes drier. So any bit of moisture really helps. Right, take those off, and I'm just going to pat what's left there into my under eyes. They're a bit slimy actually under normal circumstances. I would probably leave that to soak in for 20 minutes while I went and did something else, but today is not really a normal circumstance because I'm filming myself. Anybody who's been here since the halcyon days of lockdown will know that one of the things that got me through COVID, the very first lockdown, was getting up and putting my makeup on every day. Every day I put a full face of makeup on, and it gave me something to do. It made me feel better about myself. It was just, sorry, I'm finding this neckline really annoying. Let me just sort it out, then I can stop fiddling with it. That's better, I think. Yeah, it really did. Makeup is something I really enjoy. I love trying new products. I love using my old favourites. I love talking about makeup. Makeup content doesn't go brilliantly on my channel. It goes okay, but it's only of interest to a fairly low number of people, low number of viewers, compared with my regular content, the vlogs and so on. So I don't do loads of it, but I have been asked recently to do another makeup video, so here I am doing it. Now, right, let's start with a headband to get my hair out of my face. Love this. Rainbow unicorn horn headband. What could be more fun? And yes, I am 56 and I don't care, I still like it. Right, we're going to start with some primer. I like a moisturising primer. This is from Lacura, from Aldi, and is the, what's it called? The Vitabase Moisturising Primer. It's a dupe for the Bobbi Brown one. It's really nice. It also smells really nice. It's quite fragranced, so if you're not super keen on fragrance in your products, you may not be a fan of this one, but I do really like a moisturising primer rather than one of those really silicone-y slippy ones these days. I feel like the more moisture I can get into my skin, the better my makeup sits on top of it. Yeah, I really like this. I've got another tub of this. The trouble is with Aldi beauty products, isn't it, is that you buy one that you find you really like it, and then of course they don't necessarily sell them ever again, or they don't sell them regularly and they come back and then you might have missed them. It's a very hit and miss thing with Aldi beauty products, which I must admit does put me off them a little bit. But I recently was able to get another jar of this when they brought them back into store briefly a while ago, so I do have a backup because I'm pretty near the end of this one. Right, next, I like to brighten up my under eye, and this is an oldie but goldie. This must be my 20th tube of this. It's the Maybelline age eraser, anti-age eraser. It's in the shade Brighten, and I use it just to brighten up. I don't have too much darkness under my eyes, but just in the inner corners there. Let me bring you in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Just in these inner corners here, I do find that I get quite a lot of darkness, and I just like to really concentrate on that inside bit there, like that with this, and then use a little sponge like that just to sort of soften the edges of that. I don't want to move it around too much because I want to concentrate it in that particular area, but I do just need to soften it a little bit, blend it in just a little bit. So it's looking like that. It still looks quite white on camera, not so bad in the mirror. Always fascinates me when I do makeup videos how different things look in the camera than they do in the mirror. Next we need to talk about foundation, and don't fall over, but I may have found a Charlotte Tilbury product that I really like. Don't worry, I'm not using Charlotte Tilbury foundation, not that bougie around here. Just on the subject of foundation, before I actually put mine on, I bought the viral one from TikTok, the Tear foundation, which, if you haven't seen it, is quite innovative packaging. I think you need to be younger to use this or have less dry skin than me. Look at that, it's quite cute. It's almost like a cushion foundation. It's got a mirror in there, little sponge, and then this section which you pull open, bear with me caller, and you've got your little sponge foundation or your cushion foundation in there. I haven't used it enough to really form an opinion as yet, but it's a little bit full coverage and a little bit drying for me, I think. Right, let's talk about the foundation I am actually going to use. Revolution Super Serum. I bloody love this stuff. It's between £3 and £5. I mean, what could be? I've got about 4 backups as well because I'm terrified they're going to stop selling it. My shade is F4 at the moment. I've also got F2 and F3. I tend to mix them to get my perfect shade depending on the colour. Now, I'm quite happy wearing this by itself, but when I was on holiday recently, I took this product, which is the Charlotte Tilbury Wonder Glow Instant Soft Focus Beauty Glow Primer. Let me just show you what that looks like. It's sort of a glowy foundation-y colour, and I was using mostly this just with 1 or 2 drops of foundation mixed in, just for a really light coverage. I don't like going barefaced. I like to have some sort of coverage, but on holiday I really wanted a light coverage, and that worked so well. And since I've come back, I've been using it still, but putting in more foundation, so I've got more coverage. This foundation comes with a dropper, so I'm going to drop 1, 2, 3 drops into that. Actually, I might just do, now I'm going to leave it at 3, I can always add another one on, and then I'm just going to mix that on the back of my hand together, those 2 products, and slap it on to my face. Like so, and then use a brush, foundation brush, to blend it. I do like a brush for my foundation. Sometimes I use a sponge, but mostly I prefer a brush. I feel like I'm sometimes guilty of troweling on my foundation without realising it's a little bit heavy for my age and my skin, and I'm trying to learn to be less is more, I guess, because I'm still getting nice coverage from this combination. You know, it's covering up all my broken veins and my dark spots and giving me a really nice base to work from, but it's just not quite as heavy, which is what I was aiming for, really. Right, I am just going to put 1 more drop on the back of my hand, just to the foundation by itself, just to go around my nose, that area, because I feel like that just needs a bit. It wears off my nose the quickest anyway, so I tend to like to put plenty on there. And then I've got quite a lot of redness and broken veins just in these areas of my cheeks. Just put a little bit on there as well. Bring it down my neck a little bit. Right, foundation done. The next product I want to talk to you about is a bit of a controversial one. Well, controversial to me. I talked about this a while ago. Several people have recommended Laura Geller foundation to me as powder foundation. It's called the Baked Balance and Brighten. I bought it in the shade Fair. Incidentally, really annoys me when, this you said Laura Geller in gold writing, really annoys me on more expensive products when the packaging degrades so quickly. That should not be rubbing off Laura Geller. Not impressed. I've still got most of the product left. I don't like this as a foundation by itself. It doesn't work for me. I find it very a little bit orangey, and I find it my skin's too dry for it. I think if you had oily skin it might work really well, but as an older person, I don't get on brilliantly with powder foundation. However, using a very light dusting of it with a big, what's the opposite of dense? What's the opposite of dense? The opposite of dense. Fluffy, big fluffy brush, just to go over that layer of foundation. It works quite well for me. I feel like it makes my makeup last a bit longer. The colour doesn't look so jarring against my skin. I found it very orangey, this. Considering it's called Fair, I really did find it very orangey. My makeup light's just gone off. Just let me put it back on. My mirror light, sorry. So yeah, just a really light dusting of that works quite well over foundation for me. And then I like to go in with a layer of my trusty Laura Mercier, can't remember what this is called, but I love this stuff. Candle Glow Sheer Perfecting Powder. This is, I'm hitting pan on this one as well. Second one, and I've got a backup ready to go. This just gives an indefinable glow of some description. I don't know how else to explain it. It just makes my skin look so nice and finished, and without being cakey, or it's just a really nice finely milled powder. I like it a lot. Just does something to my skin, which is good. Right, let me just clear off all the items that we've used and talked about so far. Right, I like to go in under my eyes to avoid mascara transfer to my under eyes with a loose powder and a little velvet powder puff. This one is the Anastasia, no idea what it's called because I've just taken the lid off. I'll pop it in the description box below. I've used, it's fine, this one. It's not, I wouldn't say it's brilliant. I just like a loose powder. I don't have any preferences. This does the job just as well as most other powders that I've used, loose powders. I like something fairly finely milled, so I would pay a little bit more for a more finely milled one rather than, you know, it just sets better into the under eye area. There's always the danger with using too much powder in this area that it fills in all the lines under your eyes, but I feel like that's done pretty well. That's not too bad at all. Right, next, bronzer, and oh my goodness me, I've got two corking new bronzers. I showed you this one in my recent Shein Beauty and Homeware and Autumn Decor stuff haul. Not going to use this one today, I'm going to use a different one, but this is so good. It's a cream bronzer from the Sheglam brand in the shade Toffee, Silk Haze Cream Bronzer. It's so nice. I've really enjoyed using that one. If you like a cream bronzer, I highly recommend. And look at the size of it, it's just perfect. It's not bulky packaging at all. Perfect for travel, as the beauty bloggers say. But yeah, ideal. This is my new favourite though, the NYX Buttermelt Bronzer. I've been wanting to try these and the Buttermelt blushes since they came out. I think I showed you this in a opening my post type segment in a vlog. This is in the shade Deserve Butta, and you don't need very much of it. It's really pigmented, but it's just got such a nice finish, such a nice colour. I'm using a quite fluffy brush for this because, as I said, it is quite pigmented and you don't need loads of it. I'm just going to do that and then wipe it off on the back of my hand. And then I like to go across my cheeks, up my temples, sort of almost all the way round the perimeter of my face, back onto the other cheek. Even that is a lot of pigment there. And then just under my jawline there. And bring a little bit more up onto the apples of my cheeks, just so everything's being pulled upwards rather than downwards. Right, bronzer done. Let's move on to blusher. Honourable mention for the e.l.f. Putty Blush. Really like this. Took this on holiday with me. This is a very Barbie pink, this colour that I got. Does it say the colour on it? Blush Pate? No, I think that's just the name of the... No, it doesn't say the colour, but it's a very Barbie pink one. It's lovely, really nice texture, sits nicely on the skin. Doesn't, considering it's a cream blush, it doesn't disappear, which is always good. But it's a little bit of a summery colour for the moment. Right, this is my makeup use up at the moment. This is the NYX Whipped. What's it called? Whipped. NYX Whipped. Plush is the shade. And then this is a bit of a silly delivery system actually. It's got this sort of doe foot applicator. I like to, I'm nearly at the end of this one, I just like to get it on the back of my hand. And I will show you, bear with me, like that. And then get my blusher brush and I'll rub it into the back of my hand a bit and then rub the brush over it like that. I feel that distributes it better through the brush. I like to keep my blush quite high and also up my temple because I feel like, again, that's lifting the face rather than putting it lower down and pulling the face down. We need all the lift we can get, don't we, ladies, at this stage? I think I need a little bit more for that side. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that particular blusher. I'm using it up and I wouldn't repurchase it. I don't like the delivery system with the doe foot thing, and it only comes in a teeny tiny little container. It hasn't lasted that long, that one. Not that I need it to last long because I've got plenty of blushers, you know. But one likes to feel like one's getting value for money. Right, next, a little bit of eye primer. I always use an eye primer. I definitely think it gives longevity to my eyelashes, eyeshadow. This is the Lacura Aldi one. I think it's a dupe for, is it a Too Faced one or a Benefit one or something? I don't know, but it's pretty good. I like it. I put it on like that with the doe foot. Just smear it onto my eyelids and then I blend it in with a finger up onto the top part of the eyelid as well. And then while that has a chance to dry down a little bit, I like to do my eyebrows, and I'm using this. Again, I showed one of these in my recent Shein Homeware and Beauty haul. It's a double-ended. Let's tell you what it's called first. It's absolutely brilliant. I really, really like this. One of my favourite products of the year that I've tried. Brows on Demand 2-in-1 brow pencil, and it's in the shade, I can't remember what the shade is, and I don't think it says. I'll link it down below anyway. But it's double-ended. It's got a pencil end that you twist up, and then it's also got a felt tip end like that, very narrow one. I like both ends. I tend to use the pencil end on a daily basis, and the felt tip end if I'm putting my makeup on in the morning and really want it to last super well, I'll tend to go over it with the felt tip end or use just the felt tip end by itself, because that just seems to have a little bit more longevity in it. But this is pretty good as well. I have my brows microbladed, so I only really need to fill in where they are going a little bit pale. It's almost 2 years since I last had them microbladed, so I do need to get them done again soon, but I just like to fill them in where they are going a little bit patchy. So that's that. Really like this. Great product. Also super good value for money, so we like that as well. Right, that should have dried now. I'm going to be using for eyeshadow this little palette here, which is super, super cheap. I think it's £3 or £4, something like that. It's called it's by the brand MUA, and it's called Neutral Wanderlust. It's really good. It's got a couple of shimmer shades. It's got a really nice pale shade. It's got a nice mid shade, and it's got a darker shade for the outer corner. So nice and simple to use. Not too much choice in there. You know, you can get overwhelmed with the bigger palettes, can't you? So we'll start off with the middle shade, the sort of mid-tone transition shade or crease colour, whatever you want to call it. And I like to go in. I tend to just go on the outer half of my eye, in my crease, with this, because I don't want too much darkness in this inner part, because as I said at the beginning, I do have quite a lot of darkness in there already. So I'll start by just placing the shadow. I tend to go up above my crease because I have quite hooded eyes. Don't work again at trying to pull things up rather than drag them down too much. And then just also adding a little bit of this colour into the outer corner of my eyelid, my mobile eyelid. So I've got all that on there, and then I get a fluffy blending type brush like that, and just blend away those edges, blend it in so it looks more natural. You don't want to be moving it around too much, you just want to be blending it into that area where you've placed it, so the edges don't look too harsh and it just looks a little bit more natural. Right, that's that bit done. Now going to go into one of the two shimmery colours. They're pretty similar actually. This is the slightly paler one, so we'll start with that. I tend to generally like to do shimmery shades with my little finger. That just seems to work really well for me. I tend to get less fallout and I can position it better. Somehow it just works better. So I'm doing that all over the sort of... I haven't done that well at all. I've just managed to get loads of that under my eye. Where's my little powder puff gone? Just go back in with that. This is how not to do your makeup. This is, for the money, this little eyeshadow palette is so good. It's such good quality shadows. I'm actually just going to use a brush in that other shimmery shade at the other end and go onto the outer half of the eyelid with that. That doesn't pick up brilliantly with a brush, I have to say. Let's try it again. They're almost a sort of creamy formula, these shimmers. Definitely much better with a finger than a brush. Right, so we've done that shimmer. I'm then going to use this little pale colour at the end, this sort of creamy colour, on a flat brush like that, and just go into that inner corner again, just to get a bit of light in that inner corner. That really does brighten up the eye, just doing the inner corner bits there. Right, we're now going to work with the darkest colour, and that is quite a dark colour, so not going to need very much of that. I'm going to pick that up on a smallish fluffy brush and then just place a little bit in that very outer part of the eye, going up a little bit into the crease. So that's what you get when you've done that, and then back in with this fluffy brush you started blending the crease colour with, and again just do the same. And there we have the top part of the eyes done. Underneath I'm going to go in with this middle colour again. Don't like to darken up the underneath too much, because again it makes your eyes a bit small. I'm using this very stubby little flat stiff brush, and I just do about the outer, not quite half, sort of somewhere between a third and a half, just right below those lower lashes, just to give a little bit of definition. I like the definition it gives. I feel like it just defines my eyes without making it too heavy and dragging everything down, which is good. Right, I need a black powder eyeshadow. Just bear with me while I go and grab one. Right, black powder eyeshadow I have got. Then I'd use a tiny little angled brush like that. I lick it. Probably you shouldn't, but never mind. And then I like to go up into the underneath of the roots of my eyelashes here, the waterline, I think they call this tight lining, but I feel like this makes a real difference to my makeup. I'm going to show you when I've done it, the difference between my two eyes. You can really see how defined this eye is. It just really helps. I'm not good at eyeliner on the top of my eyelid, plus having hooded eyes, I think starting eyeliner or doing eyeliner on the top of your eyelids is not good when you've got particularly hooded eyes. Sorry, I just poked myself in the eye with that. And I feel like it's a way of getting more definition into your eyes. So that's a step that I always like to do. Right, let's talk about mascara. I bought these to replace my old ones. This is the Mascara Primer. This is the mascara. It's the Maybelline Sky High ones, but I've been using other mascaras lately. So I thought I'd use these because I've not used these since I bought them. I really like that. Actually, I'm going to do my mascara off camera, so bear with me. I'll come back to you when I've done it. It's too difficult to talk and do mascara. Right, mascara is done. Really rate these. It works perfectly well without the primer. You don't necessarily need the primer as well. It's a really good mascara by itself, but with the primer, I would generally only use the primer probably if I was going out for the evening. Just to get a bit more va-va-voom on the lashes, so to speak. Right, lipstick. I'm going to start with a lip liner. This is in my makeup use up because I need to finish it up. It's my Laura Mercier lip liner, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend spending... what I'm saying is you can get perfectly good lip liners that are far cheaper than Laura Mercier. So don't necessarily feel you've got to spend this. I've got to put my glasses on to do my lips because I like to overline. Now, one of the tricks for aging lips is when you line, don't go right into the corners. I've only gone up to about there. And then on the top lip, sort of almost go straight across on you, just above your Cupid's bow, and overline a little bit. I can't talk and do it at the same time. Again, only as far as there. You can see I haven't gone into the corners. Then I'm going to fill them in. The liner is far more waxy than normal lipstick, so will make your colour last longer. Next, let's do lipstick. I've got this Sheglam lipstick. Love this. The packaging is so high-end. It's magnetic, and it just feels so much more expensive than it is. This shade is, can I read that? Nude, it's called. That's what it looks like. It's got a really nice satiny finish. It feels very easy to wear on the lips, not drying at all, which is nice. And then as a final step, you don't need to do this, but you can if you like, just a tiny bit of lip gloss in a fairly neutral shade. This is a Rimmel one. Into the very centre part of the lips, gives them the appearance of a little bit more fullness, which is always a good thing. Right, I finish off with a spritz of makeup setting spray. This particular one is a MAC one, Fix Plus, I think it's called. Definitely elongates my makeup, also gives me a bit of added moisture, which I think is good. And this particular one just gives a nice finish to the whole face as well. So that's it, makeup is done. Let's take this off. Sorry if you can hear that. That's my robot Hoover just taken off around the lounge. And that's my makeup done. I hope you enjoyed this little makeup-y chat and demo. Definitely I don't call it a tutorial. I'd be too embarrassed to call me putting on makeup a tutorial. So it's not that. Hope you got something useful from it anyway. I will of course link all the products, or list all the products with links in the description box below and in the pinned comment. And I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.